Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Life is not always easy. There are days when your heart feels heavy, your mind feels tired, and your soul feels lost. Moments when nothing seems to go your way, when every door feels closed, and every path feels uncertain. But in those moments, Allah has given us something powerful, a dua. A dua that doesn't just ask for relief. It teaches us how to survive. Hard times are not a sign that something is wrong with your life. They are a natural and unavoidable part of being human. Every person, no matter how strong, successful, or faithful they appear, goes through moments of struggle. There are days when everything feels heavy, when even simple tasks seem exhausting, and when your heart carries a weight you cannot explain to anyone. These moments can come in many forms: stress about the future, pain from the past, loss, failure, loneliness, or even silent battles that no one else sees. It is important to understand that experiencing these feelings does not make you weak, it makes you human. Often, we look at others and assume their lives are easier, more stable, or free from difficulty. But the truth is, everyone is fighting their own battles behind closed doors. Some people hide their struggles behind smiles, while others are still searching for the strength to face another day. Life is designed in a way that it tests us in different ways at different times. Sometimes the test is patience, sometimes it is loss, and sometimes it is simply continuing to move forward when everything inside you wants to give up. When hard times hit, it is easy to feel overwhelmed and question why things are happening to you. You might wonder if you have done something wrong, or if things will ever get better. These thoughts are natural, but they can also make the burden feel heavier if you let them take control. Instead of seeing hardship as a punishment, it can help to see it as part of a greater journey. One that shapes your character, strengthens your resilience, and deepens your understanding of life. Struggles also have a way of revealing what truly matters. In moments of ease, we often become distracted, taking things for granted. But in hardship, we become more aware of our needs, our emotions, and our dependence on something greater than ourselves. These moments can bring clarity, even if they are painful at the time. They remind us that life is not meant to be perfect or constantly comfortable, but meaningful and transformative. Surviving hard times does not mean you will always feel strong or confident. Sometimes, survival simply means getting through the day, holding on to a small piece of hope, and refusing to give up completely. It means accepting that it's okay to struggle, to feel tired, and to not have all the answers. What matters is that you keep going, even if your steps are small. In the end, hard times are not the end of your story. They are chapters, difficult ones, yes, but chapters that will pass. And within them, there is always an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become stronger than you were before. Dua is often seen as something we turn to when we want relief, when we are asking for a problem to disappear, or for a situation to change. But in reality, dua is much deeper than that. It is not only a request for ease, it is a tool that helps you survive when ease does not come immediately. It is a lifeline that keeps your heart steady when everything around you feels unstable. When you make dua, you are not just asking for your hardship to end. You are building the strength to endure it. There are moments in life when problems do not go away quickly. You may pray, you may hope, and yet the situation remains the same. This is where the true power of dua reveals itself. It teaches you patience, trust, and resilience. It shifts your focus from, "Why is this happening to me?" to, "How can I get through this with Allah's help?" That shift is powerful, because it transforms you from feeling helpless into feeling supported, even if the difficulty is still there. Dua creates a direct connection between you and Allah. In that connection, You find comfort that no human being can fully provide. You can express your fears, your pain, your confusion, and your hopes without holding back. You do not need perfect words, and you do not need to hide your emotions. In fact, it is in your most honest and vulnerable moments that dua becomes the most meaningful. When you open your heart sincerely, you begin to feel a sense of calm, even if your circumstances have not yet changed. This is because dua changes what is happening inside you before it changes what is happening around you. It softens your heart, eases your anxiety, and reminds you that you are not alone. It gives you the strength to take another step, to face another day, and to keep going when giving up feels easier. In this way, dua becomes a form of survival. It keeps your hope alive when everything else seems uncertain. Sometimes, the answer to your dua is not immediate relief, but increased patience. Sometimes it is clarity, or a new perspective, or the ability to accept what you cannot control. And sometimes, it is a gradual change that you only recognize when you look back. But no matter how the answer comes, the act of making dua itself is never wasted. It is always heard, always valued, and always meaningful. Understanding dua in this way changes your relationship with hardship. Instead of waiting passively for things to improve, you actively turn to Allah for support, strength, and guidance. You begin to realize that survival is not just about escaping difficulty, but about staying grounded through it. Dua becomes your anchor in the storm, keeping you connected, steady, and hopeful. In the end, dua is not just about changing your situation. It is about transforming your heart so that you can face any situation with faith, patience, and inner strength. It is easy to believe that ease comes from changing circumstances. We often think that if our problems disappear, if our path becomes clear, or if life goes according to our plans, then we will finally feel at peace. But this way of thinking can leave us constantly chasing comfort, always dependent on things going right in order to feel okay. The truth is, situations themselves do not carry ease or hardship within them. It is Allah who places ease into them, even when they appear difficult on the surface. There are people who seem to have everything, yet they feel anxious, restless, and unsatisfied. At the same time, there are others who are facing serious challenges, yet they carry a calmness and strength that is difficult to explain. The difference is not always in their circumstances, but in the ease that Allah has placed in their hearts. This kind of ease cannot be measured by what is happening externally. It is a state of inner peace that comes from trusting Allah and relying on Him. When you understand that true ease comes from Allah alone, your perspective begins to change. Instead of trying to control every outcome or worrying about every possible problem, you start to focus on your connection with Him. You realize that even if the situation remains hard, Allah can make it feel lighter. He can give you the ability to handle what once felt impossible. He can open doors you did not expect and create solutions you could not have imagined. This understanding also brings a sense of humility. It reminds you that no matter how capable or prepared you are, you still depend on Allah for everything. Your strength, your patience, your clarity, all of it comes from Him. And when you recognize this, you naturally turn to Him more often, not just in times of crisis, but in every moment of your life. You begin to ask not only for your problems to be solved, but for ease within those problems. Sometimes Allah removes the hardship completely. Other times, He changes your experience of it. What once caused you stress may no longer affect you in the same way. What once felt unbearable may become something you can manage with patience and faith. This is the kind of ease that is often overlooked, but it is one of the greatest blessings a person can receive. Relying on Allah for ease also frees you from constant fear. You no longer feel like everything depends on your own ability to fix things. Instead, you place your trust in the one who has control over all outcomes. This trust does not mean you stop trying or making effort. Rather, it means you do your best while knowing that the final result is in Allah's hands. In the end, true ease is not about a life without problems. It is about having a heart that remains steady, hopeful, and at peace, regardless of what you are facing. And that kind of ease can only come from Allah. When you are faced with problems, your first instinct is often to focus on how difficult they are. Your mind begins to analyze every detail, every possible outcome, and every reason why the situation feels overwhelming. The problem starts to grow in your thoughts until it feels bigger than your ability to handle it. This is a natural reaction, but it can also trap you in a cycle of stress and fear. What this mindset needs is not denial of the problem, but a shift in perspective. Shifting your perspective does not mean pretending that things are easy or ignoring reality. It means choosing to see your situation through a different lens, one that includes hope, trust, and possibility. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What can I learn from this?" Or, "How can I get through this with Allah's help?" This small change in thinking can have a powerful impact on how you feel and how you respond. When you start to view problems as manageable rather than impossible, you regain a sense of control. You begin to break down what feels overwhelming into smaller, more manageable parts. Instead of being paralyzed by fear, you take steps forward, even if they are slow and uncertain. This approach does not remove the difficulty, but it changes your relationship with it. The problem no longer defines you. It becomes something you are actively working through. Trusting in Allah plays a key role in this shift. When you truly believe that Allah is Doza over all things, you understand that no problem is beyond His ability to resolve. What feels impossible to you is easy for Him. This belief creates a sense of calm within you. Even when the situation remains uncertain, you begin to realize that you are not facing your struggles alone, and that there is a greater wisdom behind what you are going through. Another important part of shifting your perspective is learning to accept what you cannot control. Many of our worries come from trying to manage outcomes that are not in our hands. When things do not go as planned, frustration builds, because we expected a different result. But when you accept that some things are beyond your control, you free yourself from unnecessary stress. You focus your energy on what you can do, while leaving the rest to Allah. This perspective also helps you see challenges as opportunities for growth. Difficult moments often teach lessons that ease cannot. They build patience, strengthen your faith, and develop your character. While these lessons may not be clear in the moment, they become more apparent over time. What once felt like a setback can later be understood as a turning point. In the end, shifting your perspective does not change the fact that problems exist, but it changes how you experience them. It allows you to move from a place of fear and helplessness to a place of strength and trust. And with that shift, even the hardest situations begin to feel more manageable. Strength is often misunderstood as something purely personal, something that comes from within you alone, built through willpower, determination, and mental toughness. While these qualities do matter, they are not always enough when life becomes truly overwhelming. There are moments when no matter how strong you try to be, you feel like you are reaching your limit. Your energy runs low, your thoughts become heavy, and your heart feels tired. In those moments, you begin to realize that real strength is not just about relying on yourself. It is about relying on Allah. Connection with Allah is what gives strength a deeper meaning. It is what transforms weakness into resilience and fear into calmness. When you turn to Allah, you are not turning to something distant or unreachable. You are turning to the one who knows you better than you know yourself, who understands every struggle you are facing, even the ones you cannot put into words. This awareness alone can bring a sense of comfort, knowing that you are not alone in what you are going through. When you build a connection with Allah, you begin to feel supported in a way that no human support can fully replace. People can listen, advise, and care for you, but their understanding is limited. Allah's understanding is complete. He knows your intentions, your fears, your hopes, and your silent battles. When you speak to Him through dua, it is not just a ritual. It is a moment of honesty, where you can express everything without holding back. This openness strengthens your heart and gives you the courage to keep going. This connection also brings a sense of peace that helps you handle difficulties more effectively. It does not mean that your problems disappear, but it changes how you face them. Instead of feeling lost and unsupported, you feel guided and reassured. You start to trust that whatever you are going through has a purpose, even if you do not fully understand it yet. This trust reduces anxiety and helps you focus on what you can do rather than what you cannot control. Another way this connection builds strength is by increasing your patience. Hard times often test how long you can endure without losing hope. When your connection with Allah is strong, patience becomes easier to maintain. You remind yourself that Allah is aware of your situation, that He sees your effort, and that He will respond in the best way at the right time. This belief allows you to continue moving forward, even when progress feels slow. It also gives you the ability to recover from setbacks. Instead of being completely broken by failure or disappointment, you find a way to stand up again. You may still feel hurt, but you are not defeated. You carry a quiet confidence that Allah will help you through, and that nothing you are facing is beyond His control. In the end, true strength is not about never feeling weak. It is about knowing where to turn when you do feel weak. And when you turn to Allah, you discover a source of strength that does not fade, no matter how difficult life becomes. There are moments in life when everything feels stuck, when your situation seems unchangeable and the future looks uncertain. You may feel like you have tried everything, made every effort, and still nothing is improving. In these moments, it is easy to lose hope and believe that things will always remain the same. But this is where your belief in Allah's power becomes essential. No matter how difficult or complicated your situation appears, Allah has the ability to change it at any time, in ways you may not expect. Human understanding is limited. We often judge situations based on what we can see and what we think is possible. If something looks too difficult or too far gone, we assume there is no way out. But Allah's gozo is beyond all limitations. What seems impossible to you is simple for Him. He is not bound by time, resources, or circumstances. A situation that has been difficult for months or even years can change in a single moment if He wills it. This belief brings hope into even the darkest times. It reminds you that your current condition is not permanent. Just because something has been hard for a long time does not mean it will always stay that way. Allah can open doors you never imagined, create opportunities you did not see coming, and bring ease from directions you never expected. Sometimes the change is sudden and clear, and other times it is gradual, unfolding step by step. But in both cases, it is always within Allah's control. Trusting in this does not mean you stop making effort or waiting passively for things to improve. Instead, it means you continue to do your best while keeping your heart attached to Allah. You work, you strive, and you make dua, knowing that the outcome is not limited to your efforts alone. This balance between effort and trust keeps you motivated without feeling overwhelmed. You do what you can, and you leave what you cannot control to Him. Another important part of this belief is understanding that ease does not always come in the way you expect. Sometimes you ask for a problem to be removed, but instead, Allah gives you the strength to handle it. Sometimes He delays the solution, because there is something better waiting for you, something you cannot yet see. What may feel like a delay can actually be part of a greater plan that will benefit you in the long run. When you truly believe that Allah can turn hardship into ease at any moment, your mindset begins to change. You no longer feel trapped by your situation. Even if things are difficult, you carry a sense of hope that keeps you moving forward. You become more patient, more resilient, and more open to possibilities. In the end, no hardship is permanent when Allah is in control. Every difficulty has the potential to be transformed, and every moment of struggle carries the possibility of relief. Holding on to this belief gives you the strength to continue, knowing that ease can come at any time, by the will of Allah.